Hi guys, my name is Baradante, and welcome back to Texturing John. John is the main character of my horror game that I'm working on, by the way, if you are new here. In the last episode, we made these boots very gross, and really as I'm looking at it, it's a little bit too much, probably. But really, I see this part as like something we can change dynamically at any point. It's now all set up, it's just, maybe there will be like several versions of textures depending on how clean, like if you're indoors, maybe they won't get that dirty. And generally, maybe we don't want the zipper to be completely covered in gross like that. Maybe that doesn't make too much sense. Like a little bit of the actual boot to look at, so we can easily just remove it or bring it back. All this procedural texture. I made the spots a little bit smaller, so they look a little bit different. I think it's a bit more realistic because they looked kind of like drops of ink on the paper kind of thing, like big round spots. And this looks a little bit more real. Now, since the last episode, I actually did the pants. Maybe not to the completely final look, but I did apply like a basic cloth texture just from the library. Fabric rough aligned, I think this one. So it just gives a nice, not too assuming kind of texture. I made it maybe a little bit too big. I just wanted to be actually seen, that kind of situation. It's possible to have pants of this kind of texture. You guys let me know if this looks weird. I think it's cool. Yeah, another cool thing, I just looked up like some kind of dynamic brush for the zipper, and this one was the one I used. Actually, there's a zipper stop that I should definitely add here as well. I did not notice that. But yeah, this stuff is pretty cool. It's like this smart brush or something. This is its original setting, and you can actually turn it into this with just certain tweaks. They are like specific like tape depth or like all kinds of settings specifically about the way things are structured, so that's pretty cool. Raised fabric edge, none, so there's none of that thing anymore. The color of the actual metal, I used something like this. Then you remove the raised fabric edge, but you do add tape opacity right here, and that makes it like this darker look. And that roughness, you lower it, it becomes a bit more shiny, so here we get this kind of result. The zipper's shape itself remains the same, but there's like this other version that's like this. So here we can make it just one side. Starting buckles. Oh, this one has an actual buckle thing. I need this one from this style. Does that make sense? I think it does. Looks a little bit wonky. On the other side, I'll just add a little quick shape that would be the actual holder or whatever. I mean, this could be a texture in here as well, but I think that would be too flat, so I'll actually create a shape. So yeah, place it like this. But actually drawing the zipper on this shape was a bit hard, because I needed to follow the actual, this is from the 3D scan. There was a zipper in here, but it was not very good quality, so I just erased it. In this mode, it's much easier to do it. So you make sure you align the lighting so you can see it well, and you make a line right here. It's much easier this way. So yeah, next thing, I also continued the dirt a little bit, not going too crazy, just making sure that it's also there, continuing the trend of the boots. I think it turned out pretty well. And yeah, another thing, I added this wear layer that added this shinier specular on all the ridges on the edges of the shape and made it a bit shinier and darker. So I lowered the roughness there. So this way we get a little bit more of a, like actually worn cloth. So I like that a lot. Another thing, I actually added real socks that of course won't show up too much because they're like really close by the boots, but who knows, maybe they will show up a bit more at some point. Yeah, I think the scarf wool, just different color and whatever. I did my best to fit the scale of it with the original scan. Like this is the original scan socks, so we're really close to that. So that's like for the basic thing, like to make it the pants they are a little bit better. I may add some extra branding, you know, some little like sticker, maybe to make it more interesting. And I'll probably do something like that. Also that hanging thing right here and on the boots is needed. So we'll be doing that, but today let's just focus on the jacket. So let's start with that fabric material. Wait, I remember I did that as well. Yeah, I threw it in. It's mostly very much perfectly aligned. Some of the areas will be a little bit wonky, but I think it's like tiny enough detail that it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, I made it a lot finer on the jacket because it doesn't look okay at all when it's on the jacket and it's big. Oh, wow. Like, that's also a look. Yeah, that polygon is weird. Interesting. Let's actually right away throw it on the shirt as well. Something like that. Now, the best thing I want to do here is like add a different material on the inside area of this hood right here. So that will be number one. Another thing, I want to add a zipper right here. Or should it be like the very tip of it? So maybe it should be actually in the model, because it's not really a material situation. Ooh. It all looks always so fashionable. Like, this kind of stuff is the stuff right now. And I'm like, nah, let's go generic and old school. So yeah, something like that. I'll just add that black mask and bring it all back. It doesn't matter if I'm that precise in here, of course, because if the camera ever sees this, it probably has bigger problems. But, you know, I mean, kind of like in between the pants or like this, you want to see it. This is a main character, guys. Let's pay some attention. So yeah, I think I covered up everything I wanted to do. Maybe this as well. Where are you at? Oh, it's this thing. Okay. So maybe kind of just cover it all up with the tiniest padding margin, something like that. Like, I don't think I want to use the actual UV seam for the edge of this cloth, so I'm going just right next to it. I think that's too close. The design of the jacket shouldn't be that close to the edge with this underneath material. So yeah, something like that. So this is the material, like the color and everything of the cloth as it is just from the library. We'll set it all up in a second. And by the way, on that matter, I hope the height channel is not being used by this material, right? Because I want to do this cool thing. To separate the materials so it would look less weird. Oh, it's like using height, but also using normal. So I could like just drop it maybe? I really don't need that extra detail. Or not detail, just contrast. Technical parameters. So... oh, so I don't have to turn it off. I can still push it upwards. So this is what I want to see, right? And that makes me notice that it needs a lot more precise work here. Nice. Okay, cool. Got a soft edge because it was a bit too sharp like this. Like some of the original fold was helping somewhere from the 3D scan, but where it doesn't, it just looks too sharp of just a border of some kind of digital layer. But this extra thing, like I added this UV island blur filter to the mask and applied it in multiply mode. So normally it blurs out a bit more, but multiply it means we only add the softening inside of the original border. And yeah, maybe even stronger, 0.3. There's also like this effect applies to the color, and I could add a bunch of other layers to only blur the edge of just the height and not the color, but I think it's just fine. I just need a softer edge on that. But yeah, it does cause some issues, even though this is this UV island blur that's supposed to work better. I think normal blur, will it actually work better in this situation, because it's just not trying to do something weird with the edge. And 0.5 is exactly what I need. Yeah, it looks good. Actually, I like how it's slightly softening the color, something I would do myself. Honestly, it looks kind of good. But yeah, everywhere we now can see the actual nice border like this. Now, the actual material, this is a lame color. I think I want like this. What's the rest of the outfit looking like? Ooh, that's cool. Kind of. It doesn't have to fit the pants or something. I was just thinking, what about like actual black? So it's even darker than the pants. So this is the look, originally a bit shiny, and it doesn't make much sense. Like this material of the actual like windproof jacket, it makes sense that it's slightly shiny. This should be a bit rougher than that, like that. Good riddance. I'm hating this yellow fade on it now. When the material became darker, this is super obvious. Let's see how we can fix that. Okay, yeah, that's right. So we're applying that roughness fix here and fixing the color and roughness edge, removing blur from it. So we only have that blur on this nice height. My god, he looks so messed up, like he hasn't slept forever. I mean, it's a thing, of course, in Silent Hill culture. But yeah, he's not gonna look exactly like that, and it's not like he hasn't slept forever. That's not a thing about John specifically. It's just, again, I really feel like I need to remind every time, like, this is not what the character actually looks like in Unreal Engine. It's just that the normal maps and other things get very messed up on exporting. It doesn't matter too much. The only thing I'll actually... Oh my god, did I just close something important? God damn it. Layers, yeah. Okay. The only thing I'll actually work on is the color texture, which I think is okay to just re-import back and it will work just fine. I wonder, this ambient occlusion that was generated is like low resolution for some reason. Can I fix that? Output size 512. Why? Why not 496? And before it takes 4 hours to calculate this now. Alright, that's much nicer now. So, let's see about that wear layer. I'll grab it from the pants. This one. It's a good one. Copy and paste to the jacket. Yeah, I need like an anchor or something. On the bottom layer, I'll just add that anchor right here. And I'll call it whatever, basic detail, something like that. And this wear layer can pick it up in the fill. Basic detail. Anyway, like, this is all incredibly high contrast anyway. I just wanted to add some wear. He didn't just sleep in a dumpster. This is insane. We can just blur out a bunch of details because being too sharp also is kind of weird. But most importantly, like, the color. This was the color for the worn pants. We need... like, not too much. He looks like he's homeless. Like, discoloration is okay, but it needs to be, like, a lot closer to the original than what it does. I mean, this is kind of good, but, like, darker? I'm okay with this, but still, a little bit softer than that. Wow, that looks like water and Doom. Well, this is fun. This, like, just adding this kind of texture with the roughness and discoloration a little bit, based on just the curvature of things, really brings things together, like it's immediately looking a lot more real. But yeah, we can add a whole bunch of other stuff on top of this. One thing, like, when the normal map doesn't look convincing enough, you probably need to add that specular masking in the cavities. So I'll also pick it up from the pants. We did the same thing for the boots. And in here we have somewhere a specular, something no specular layer right here. Oh, it has a bunch of stuff actually working. So it's already doing it? Yeah, it is doing it. So it's removing highlights in the deeper things like this. And it actually makes sense, but also I feel like I could use some kind of darkening in this situation. So blend in a little bit of this, but not as much. Looks like a cartoon right now. Borderlands look. So ever so slightly. Yeah, adding all this little stuff to make all the folds, all the seams looking like they're real. Man, that jacket looks worn out. So that wear is a little bit too intense. Base color. Let's just tone you down a bit. 50%. The roughness thing, I think I'm gonna keep it because it's kind of cool. So yeah, I feel like I could add some extra hand-drawn details, especially like tiny wrinkles, tiny folds. Some seams are not very consistent. So I'll do that the next day. See you then. Alright, welcome back. Let's keep going with the jacket. We have a few things to underline on the features, and then we'll see what happens. One of those include these guys, of course. We'll need to add some kind of branding here or something like that. These are freaking useful, smart brushes for like stitches. There's a bunch of settings for how intensely it like digs into the fabric, and do we want this actual seam or not? That's pretty cool. And yeah, the color of the string, you can just hit random and get different results, but there's also like the stitch size, length, and width, how much spacing between these there will be. That's looking very decorative. I don't think we needed that strong. Yeah, like just smaller. All the same, but smaller. I think the main problem is that it's like a dark seam, dark string. On a yellow jacket, they actually use just yellow strings. So I couldn't find a good brush, like there's a bunch of cool... Hold on. There's a bunch of cool stitching brushes, like the ones I showed before, and they were cool in here and all, but with this kind of stitch, I have this quite specific situation where it's like an underneath stitch of kind of like a denim type, where the actual stitches are underneath, and we should just see these big kind of like rectangular bumpy things along the actual seam on one side. So I decided to create one myself. I started with just like this round brush that just doesn't do anything with my simple round preset. It had a round alpha at first, but in here I found this shape gradient, which seems to be doing the thing I would enjoy. So if I increase the height more to demonstrate, it's just like one sharp edge on one side and a soft edge on the other side. And it's a bit too tough still, that's because the spacing is really small. Oh, it becomes like very intense. But yeah, I wanted to make the spacing at all like really big to get somewhere over here. Follow path, something like this. Yeah, the problem with all that is that I need it to be soft, so just apply like a blur filter right on top of the thing, and that's our seam. And it's just this kind of light brush strokes. Already looks like the stitches, but we can add more stuff like jittering of the angle and stuff like that. That's too strong. Adding a little bit of like distortion like this from this blur slope filter before the blur filter can make it a bit more natural. Oh, there you go. So here's the situation. I applied this kind of brush strokes, then I used blur slope that introduces this kind of mess. It was important to make it small scale of a noise and small intensity to just add some natural shape. And then I blur it a little bit. And generally the setting of the height is very strong, like at 1. But then we apply a high pass to this mask, and it introduces like this positive plus negative effect to it. If you use like a pretty small radius there, it's like doing this little thing like sharpening to the colors of this height map. And this is exactly the look I was looking for. It needs to go not just up, but also down. And the height map goes from 50% gray, so you can go darker, like dig downwards as well. So I think I'm gonna finally get a pretty cool look for these areas here. Okay, we can tone it down a little bit. Nice. Oh, I'm gonna have a great use out of it in many situations. The only problem is it doesn't really scale very well. All the effects are applied layer-wide. If I make the squares bigger, they won't have enough blurring on them, I guess. It's not the worst. I can control like spacing and stuff to maybe make it a bit more or less obvious. Yeah, I like this. So I just added like a soft fade next to this fold. Just wanted to make it a little bit more real looking, like believable. Maybe a bit too on the nose, but I don't know, I think it kinda works. I'm just using this holes layer that removes specular and adds black basic color. And it's transparent like this, and I usually use it with this crease brush to introduce all kinds of like more believable tiny details, which is something I'll do next here. But for this particular case, like it kind of worked to add like a fold like this, but it was like just a sharp line and it needed to be sharp on one side and soft on the other side. So what I did was I just used a sharp brush like this, and then used a smudge tool to just, with this position jitter, to just fade away one of the sides. Yeah, another brush I use is just a soft eraser in this case. So... oh, it's still present a lot. This is a very subtle eraser right now. Something like that. Actually, as I look at it, I think I can use that smudge tool without the position jitter. So I can just move my brushwork a little bit to fit better with the 3D scan data. I like it. Now, let's continue with the seam in here. We need this actual dark line and that big square stitches stuff as well. Gotta make this one good to make sure we look at something nice most of the gameplay. This is the back of the main character. Pretty cute, actually. I feel like I want to add a little bit of something to this cloth material. Like, I'm not believing in it. It's fake as hell. Can I maybe add like another layer that removes specular that would also make it on a very microscopic level? Because right now it's like small, but like for this. But what about like fibers of this fabric? So I'm adding an anchor point. I hope it's in the proper place. And let's just create a new fill layer and start with removing specular. And let's make it black just so I could see if I'm doing anything. So if this is our alpha, I'll add like levels and bring up that contrast to the max. So I just want holes in between these details, and in here I assume it also should work with the undercloth. Whoa. And now we can tweak things in. Also, yeah, invert. Alright, I think it should do something nice. Looking pretty matte right now, right? what is the final resulting specular is like. It's pretty dark. Also, this is wrong. Okay, what about these guys? Some kind of leather, rough dark. Let's do that. That's intense. Maybe something else. What a cool material. Okay, I think I just need to fiddle with the scale on these, because it looks always weird. Something like that. Oh my god. Why is it so overly complicated? Totally unnecessary. Okay, I'm having a cool idea. Let's see what I can do about it. So I want to add, like, the problem, right? When you're looking at the reflections on these things, they're like super straight. Like a mirror or like a, I don't know, hard metal plates. The reflection is super even on the whole surface. It gives away that it's like super straight and it doesn't have any natural bending on the edges or like this. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding like this extra layer and it's just height. Right now, I want to add one of those filters or generators even. And let's use that curvature. Ooh, that's intense. So we really need to tone down that scale. Oh my god, there it is. Right? It's not quite working, to be honest. Maybe this is too tiny of a detail for that. I mean, honestly, I can work with that. I thought I would make like, you know, very specific... Oh my god! Specific, like, just little curvatures at the edges of this of these patches, but I guess it's not gonna happen. We can deal with something like this then. And yeah, I don't want to replace, let's do that linear dodge, the default setting of it. Oh, this is nice. Of course I can like tone it down a lot, and that'll be it. This is cool. Oh, there you go, just blur happens to make some cool stuff with the edges, kinda randomly, but I like it. Random is even better, and I get to control that radius even. Cool. So it's because, as I mentioned many times before, that blur filter doesn't work well with the UV seams, UV edges. These guys actually have those edges exactly where I need the curvature to happen, so it just goes ahead and introduces it right there. This is useful. Clothy wrinkles alpha, especially applied before the blur, so the edges would get a bit more messy. Cool. Alright, let's add like some kind of shapes on these. How does this thing work? Normal. Whoa. It works like a decal. Yeah, exactly like a decal. So I just discovered something that doesn't matter too much, but I don't think there's a text editor in this version, at least, of Substance Painter, and what I decided to do is just use this paint roller brush and use whatever text and just make it small enough so it wouldn't be visible. Because there's like a bunch of alphas like this with different words, some kind of industrial sign words. Mind the step sounds about right. Okay, I'm not sure what to do with this horizontal one yet, so this one goes first. Alright, I think this is our jacket here. It looks pretty fleshed out. I have a few more things to do, but I'll do it in between the videos. We'll probably start animating in the next video. I will do my best to add like the zipper polygons in here with the repeating texture right away, as well as some hanging details for this and this right here. I did notice one thing I wanted to add to improve. It's on the pants. I forgot to use a stamp brush to copy these details over here. Alright, let's see. Well, it's doing it. Oh, I just realized the stamp brush probably works so much better in this view. Oh my god, of course. Done. Now I actually have the nice wrinkles in the back here. So yeah, really happy how this turned out to be. Like, nothing specific or anything, but I don't know, looks nice. Some quick dirty metal materials worked on these guys. And yeah, a few more details here and there, but I really need to sleep on it, and this episode really needs to end. So this will be it. Loved the work with all the stitching, which was like the main focus on this video probably. Really improved the appearance of the jacket here. I actually have this group to quickly toggle the whole thing. So this is how we changed everything. Quite a lot of new definition here. Yeah, this seam really brings the presence of this back here. Nice. So yeah, this is it. Let me know what you guys think about the result. Look forward to the final product of this in the next video. And I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! I feel again like the jacket should be a little bit more specular in general, but that would be a battle for another day.